Yo, what is good, YouTube? Welcome back to another JC2K video. In today's video, we are going to be talking about the salary cap game mode and how I think it can be improved upon, but also why I think it absolutely needs to return in NBA 2K26 My Team. Before we hop into the video, if you haven't already, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Help me push towards the 50,000 subscriber mark on the channel. I upload every single day, multiple videos a day. Would really appreciate it if y'all do subscribe. Without further ado, let's get into it. Let's talk about the salary cap game mode, because I think salary cap is one of the few game modes this year that I actually kind of, to be totally honest, didn't mind. It wasn't perfect, but I feel like it was better than the other alternatives that we've had so far this year. I don't know. I did enjoy salary cap, but I do hope to see it improve even better. You know what I mean? Like, I think it can be done better, because this year wasn't terrible, but next year definitely has the potential to be even better. Because here's the thing, I did like a lot of things about salary cap this year, especially earlier in the year when you were getting like the end reward for 2,500 points all 3 times in a season. When you were getting all 3 of those, you were getting some like decent options potentially. Like, you were getting some higher tier player packs that were Galaxy Opal or Dark Matter or 100 overall, and actually were decently, gave you a decent chance at getting a top tier pull when they first did them. I think like season 5 was a Dark Matter, and it was actually pretty good at the time, like that reward. There were a couple points in time this year where I do think that salary cap was a pretty rewarding game mode to play. I will say, on a week to week basis, I mean, if you got in your 2 weeks to 2,500 points, you basically made 15,000 MT, 1 useless player pack at 1,500 points, and then a couple of other shattered prize pieces towards a lower tier player as well. And I just don't think realistically that the mode was like insanely rewarding or anything. But the thing that I think a lot of people like about salary cap, and honestly one of the biggest reasons that I think the game mode needs to return, is because it limits pay to win so much more. So I think there are a lot of people out there who look at salary cap as like a better option to play the game mode, because they're not going to have to go up against, at this point in the year, for example, you wouldn't have to go up against GOAT Michael Beasley and GOAT Kevin Durant and GOAT LeBron James and GOAT Yao Ming and all those types of cards. At most, you're going to play one of those cards. And while I don't have my salary cap team fully set up right now on this account, I mean, you're looking at teams with diamonds and pink diamonds, and maybe 1 or 2 Galaxy Opals, maybe 1 Dark Matter, a dynamic duo that takes a couple cards of Dark Matter, whatever the case may be. There's a lot more flexibility in salary cap in terms of the way that you can run your team, because you are so capped on salary that if you really want to have elite level primary guards, you can do that and maybe have a little bit weaker of a front court. If you want to have a really well-rounded starting lineup, you can do that, but your bench might need to be a little bit weaker. And it also requires you to use these stud budget options. These Amethyst and Diamond, really good budget cards that have come out throughout the year, are really good in salary cap, and it gives them an opportunity to be used even when they might be way outdated in actual showdown. So I think in general, the ability that salary cap gives people to compete without spending money online in a 5v5 setting, whereas if you don't have a very good team, you're going to struggle probably in showdown, especially if you get into higher tiers of showdown. That's not something that's nearly as true with salary cap, and I think that is a huge W. I do believe salary cap does still have skill-based matchmaking. I am personally of the opinion that we don't need skill-based matchmaking in any game mode personally, but especially in a salary cap mode. I think, in my opinion, in order to keep it, it is already more of a casual for fun mode. I think that it should continue to be that, and that the goal should be, I would say, to maintain that. And I think not having skill-based matchmaking in this mode can be a good way to try to do that effectively, at least. But I mean, hey, at the end of the day, like, I don't think they're doing I honestly think that they did a decent job with it this year. I will say later on in the year, like at this point in the year, when your shattered prize pieces are for, I believe it's a random invincible for this season. I haven't even done salary cap. I felt like the rewards fell a little bit further behind as the year went in terms of what your ultimate reward was going to be. And I do miss the player rewards. Like in 2K24, we did have Dark Matter Dikembe Mutombo, who is a salary cap player reward. It was an awesome card. I would love to see the return of specific player rewards. That's kind of a thing that I think has been true across the board, though, not just for this season. You know what I mean? I think in general that is or not just this mode, I should say. I think in general that's something that's kind of true for everybody. So I mean, I hope we see those mode reward players. I don't personally really expect that we are going to get those players. At least that's my thought process. I really don't know for sure. We'll have to wait and see. But with that being said, I do think as a whole, I mean, they did a pretty good job this year with salary cap. Overall, it was better as a mode than a lot of other game modes, in my opinion, and I think it did provide a good entering point online for a lot of people. That's the other thing I will say is if you are an on like a majority offline player and you want to start getting more involved in online My Team, the way that I would best recommend going about doing that is playing salary cap. I think salary cap can be your favorite game mode to really get adjusted to the online, more so start to play against people who are maybe playing a little bit more towards the meta, learn how to defend, learn how to play better on an online in general, because I think people have a hard time with that, and I don't think that's a bad thing or a surprising thing, you know what I mean? But I do think that's just how it goes. So I think salary cap is a great mode for that as well, and I would encourage people who are potentially looking to do that next year. I would definitely encourage people to give the mode a try. I'll say that. That being said, outside of that, I mean, look, I don't know. I think that the other things with this game mode that I would like to see changed are a little bit more niche. Like, I think you could do more creative things with salary cap. I think the way that they do the salary cap does happen to it does become a little bit repetitive, I think, in terms of the cards people are using. Because, like, for example, with salary cap, Diamond Delano Ben, Pink Diamond Donovan Clingan, Pink Diamond Josh Childress. Earlier in the year, it was guys like Amethyst Kenneth Fareed and Amethyst AC Law and guys like that, where realistically, those cards were almost in everybody's salary cap lineup. And I think maybe a little more creativity on a week-to-week basis with the salary cap requirements could be neat. It's one of those things that I suggested, like with Triple Threat Park as well. I do think they could probably do a better job of making the game mode a little more creative at times and maybe a little more rewarding as well, where you play with a specific, more so themed team, or players from certain teams are discounted, or players from certain eras are discounted, or whatever the case may be in salary cap on a week-to-week basis. And maybe you have additional challenges involved in the mode, so you get additional rewards or things like that. And even if not, I would like to see them maybe make a little bit more intentional effort this next year to rewarding people who are playing the game a little bit more as we get later on in the year. Like, your ultimate reward should be a player reward, or like an equal chance pack at a minimum, or an option pack or something like that. And I just think a lot of people who were like, yeah, there were at times good rewards in this mode, but I just don't know if they were good enough consistently enough to really be game changing or super impactful on the mode as a whole. So I don't know, that's just my opinion again, and I'm not gonna, I think they can kind of do what they want, but I would love to see some better rewards there as well. And I do think as a whole that they did a pretty good job, honestly, with salary cap this year compared to a lot of other game modes. It was definitely one of my personal favorites to play this year. And I do hope that they bring back Clutch Time Online too, because that mode is missed. I feel like that's another mode that's almost similar in way to the salary cap, and that, again, it's the less sweaty, less skill-based matchmaking type mode, but also you could use your top cards in that mode, which I thought was kind of cool. Whereas in salary cap, you can only use like one of them. So I'd love to see Clutch Time Online come back as well. Do I think it will? I don't know, but I'm just throwing that out there as well, that I would love to see that mode come back. But with that being said, that is going to do it for today's video. I hope y'all did enjoy. If you did, make sure you hit that like button, leave a comment, and subscribe. I will be back with more 2K content very, very soon, and I appreciate y'all. Peace.